Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Rabbi.
We're learning Mishna Yevamos, Parak Ches, Chapter 8, Mishnah Beis, Mishnah 2. The previous Mishnah had mentioned the Psua Daka and the Chris Shufcha, which are translated as a person who has wounded testicles, a person who has a severed member. So now the Mishnah is going to give us more detail about this. Eza Psua Daka. Who is a man with wounded testicles? And as we say, such a man may not marry Bekahal. Such a person may not marry a woman of proper Jewish lineage. Kol shniptzu habeitzim shaloi v'filo achas mehen. Translated, this means any man whose testicles have been wounded, which means in a way that makes him unable to father children. Any kind of injury to the testicles that affects him in that way. And here on the bottom they bring down whether they were cut, crushed, punctured, removed, or internally injured. If at the end of the day, even one of them is damaged in that way so that he cannot have children, that makes him a psua daka. Ucharis shufcha. What makes a person into a chris shufcha, man with a severed member? And on that the Mishnah says, Kol shenichras hagid. Any man in whom even part of the member has been severed, has been cut off. If, however, there remains even a small amount of the corona, kosher, he is fit to be able to marry a Jewish woman, a woman of proper lineage. So let's explain. The chus shuvcha is a person who's damaged not in the testicles, but in the member, in the male organ itself. And the injury makes him unable, the injury of the member makes him unable to father children. Whatever it does, whatever is going to damage him in that place that makes him unable to father children, that is now what makes him a chrushuvcha. Now, the chrushuvcha literally means that it was cut off. So the Mishnah says that if, let's say, im nishtar me'atar avikol chuta sayra kosher, the damage that we're talking about is happening to the gid. The gid is the term used for the member. Now, if there is a damage in the member, that's the problem. Even if a partial danger in the member is going to make a problem. That's what kol shenichras hagid, which means any man whom even part of the member has been severed. That's going to make a problem. That's going to make him unable to father children. However, im nishtar me'atara, if from the corona, from the tip, there is left even an amount of flesh, kochut hasayra, like a strand of hair, there is something, even a minuscule amount left from the corona, then that tells us that the entire gid, the entire member, is whole. The member is what starts closer to the body. So as long as there is even a sliver of flesh left from the corona, from the tip, you know that the gid is whole. You know that the gid, the member, is whole. And that means he's able still to father children, and therefore he would still be able to marry a woman with a proper Jewish lineage. Now, all these damages that we're talking about, the Bartanura points out, I'm going to read to you here from the bottom. The prohibition discussed in our Mishnah applies only to a man whose private parts were damaged from an outside source, be by injury. It does not apply to damage from birth or due to illness, even if he is unable to father children. Okay? So basically, if it comes for some kind of a birth defect, or it was some kind of an illness that caused any of the damage in these parts, that would not give him the prohibition of these two men about whom they may marry. And now the Mishnah speaks this out. Betsua, Daka, Ucharush Shofcha, both these men, Mutara Migeres Mishachreres, may marry a woman who has converted, or a Mishachreres, that means a slave woman, a Gentile slave, who was freed. If a master frees, whether it be a male Gentile slave, a female Gentile slave, once they are freed, they have the status of a convert. They're Jewish. However, they are not considered people of a people of a proper Jewish lineage. And therefore, these men may marry these women. They are only forbidden to enter into the congregation. Shenemar, as it says, these men who are damaged, they may not enter into the community of Hashem, the congregation of Hashem. The congregation of Hashem means people who have a proper lineage. And therefore, people who don't have a proper lineage, they would be able to marry. Okay. Chofetz Chaim continues, Va'ata. Now we're going to explain about whom is it forbidden to speak Lashon Hara. Is Lashon Hara hu bein al isha al isha. You're not allowed to speak Lashon Hara, whether it be about a man or a woman. Bein chiluk bein ishta li isha acheres. No difference between your wife or anybody else. Okay? Even your wife can't speak Lashon Hara about. That's not supposed to be even. It should be especially. But unfortunately, the attitude is even. Many people stumble in this. Here's the problem. People think it's okay to put down their wife or their in-laws or anybody in their in-laws' house to their relatives from their father's home. There's no difference in halacha. Unless there's some reason that why he's saying it has some kind of constructive purpose for the future and not just to put them down, okay, then maybe there's a possibility of being okay. But just to speak about them, to speak badly about them, that's for sure forbidden. And even if you're doing it for a constructive purpose for the future, you got to make sure that there's no false, there's no untruths mixed in. You know, even if the main point is going to get across, even if the main point would possibly be permissible to say, but to exaggerate, to throw in details that are not true, that you can't do. But the point is that, again, he's not telling us anything, any kind of novel idea in halacha here, but he's speaking out and he's touching on all the possibilities, touching on all the situations. And he's saying there is this situation, there is this problem that people do put down and speak badly about their wives or their wife's family in front of their family. And unless there's some kind of constructive purpose, which again carries its own details, that of course is going to be Lashon Hara. There's no exception. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Rabbi.